All right, welcome back to Soul Spark Tarot. I'm your host, Mr. Renew, and today we got a little check-in message for you. With that being said, you can jump to the reading if you want to, or you can listen to me yap, but I appreciate you nonetheless. So, let's get yapping. What's good? It's been a couple of days. Like I said, it's going to be like that. I'm thinking the schedule is going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Until I finish what I need to do, and then I'll try to get back on track with the dailies. But yeah, I've obviously been doing different things, which is why I haven't had the time. But I have had the time. I just haven't been utilizing the time for this just because I've been tired and focused on other things, which I'm never not happy for myself in doing stuff. I'm just sad for y'all who miss me and who want to hear me. Subscriber update. We lost a subscriber. So we actually haven't gained a single subscriber in like 2 weeks, and then we lose one. So I know we was on a super positive trend going up and up, but I've been learning certain things, especially during this Mercury retrograde, which is over. But we got the new moon coming up, and that's what I've been focused on. I've been focusing on really eclipsing out the last bits of, the past, and then I've just been moving forward. And when I say, what I'm talking about is I'm changing the things in my life that I know I need to, and I'm getting back to the things that I used to enjoy. And it's all about the integrative aspects of two worlds. It's like getting married. You This is popping up in my head because of the video I just watched, but if you ever seen the TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender, this video was talking about inheriting the legacy of pain and trauma and responsibility of others with whom you're not responsible for. I think that was very powerful and important because that is true. We are all responsible for all of our traumas. We are all responsible for the actions that we take moving forward from the people who created us. We are all responsible for everything that came before us, and we can choose to perpetuate that same responsibility, or we can perpetuate the responsibility as anew. Are you going to continue, or are you going to change? You are going to change, but are you going to are you going to use your free will to make the changes you desire along the changes that are required? Life requires change. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what you're doing or where you're going through. But what life needs are aspects of you who decide when change should happen, and who decides when to let change happen to them. So, as I've stated, I have been chilling on this readings, but I have been thinking about y'all. It's only been 2 days, but again, it just feels like so long, especially because of the last 2 weeks. I probably put out about like 4 to 5 videos, I think, opposed to 14. And again, I still want to put out more like other people, but I felt like I haven't had the energy. So I've been giving myself energy, giving myself time, giving myself new things, and allowing myself to be while preparing to be more strict and disciplined in other areas too. So, in other words, I've learned how to balance both worlds, the responsibilities of the past with the responsibilities that I carry as an individual. And now, since I have this newfound plan, these newfound spaces, and this new energy, I'm looking to do more things in a way that I feel like I can be obligated towards. I got goals now. I've always had goals. But the goals are new because, again, I reflected a ton over Mercury retrograde just in time for us to have a brand new moon. So we're clean. We got a fresh state. So what energies are we going to include within this situation so we can see them manifest here in about 2 weeks? What energies have we put in? Well, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I've done enough soul searching to know that I want certain things to happen. I want certain things to occur. And I want to allow myself to enjoy the things that I enjoy. So I got a nice little schedule. And then I'm going to be putting in that practice, just saw the Two of Pentacles, to balance the schedule. Because again, if you want to hear me, I'm going to be doing spiritual readings on this channel, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I think Saturdays, and then probably an in-betweener if I feel like it. But on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm looking to be talking on the other channel. And both of them are educational. This is just education of the spirit. But then we apply the spiritual knowledge with the education on the back end on the other channel, which is all about social understandings. So instead of just reacting to and giving commentary to social trends, I don't like being on the trend of people, bro. I don't. It's not like I choose to be a trendsetter. I mean, I like some of the things. I just know other shit. So I think about things differently, man. And because I think about things differently, I just don't be giving a damn to jump on the bandwagon with the people. So I want to look at old school shit and see how it's the same. I want to look at different references. I've been reading scientific journals, bro, for the last fucking 5 years, consistently. I'm not interested in the shit that people just interpret from other people interpreting tests. I can go to the source. So that's what I do on the other channel. That's what I'm planning on doing. Using the information that I actually been practicing for the last fucking 4 or 5 years. And that's why I come off educational on the other channel and in this one. It's because I'm constantly updating myself. My software has always been updated. And if you know anything about software and updates, sometimes you gotta delete old shit. So, in the course of making space for updates, we got to have a way to imprint on the hardware. In other words, there's some things you just don't want to forget. But you can't change that unless you change how you store that information. And that comes in the form of videos. That comes in the forms of books. That comes in the forms of collaborations. And those are 3 things that I want to work on for the end of the year and next year. I'm tired of being in my head about certain things that I know I do well, so I'm not. And then the things that I could potentially do well, I'd rather do those things on my own. And then the collaboration will come in once I'm doing those things that I know I'm potentially good at on my own. I don't want to help people anymore without helping myself first. I don't want to go out and reach out to others just to give to them and them not give back to me in return. I'm not a rookie. I don't care if I'm starting off as a freshman. I'm a freshman, you can say, that is super talented and practiced. I'm just new to over here. But I'm not new to this game. So that's the whole idea. Imagine, well, here's a common thing. I think Ronaldo, he was in one league playing against all of those teams for decades and winning, and then he switched over to a new team in a new league. He's new to that league, but he ain't a rookie. And that's me, and I think that's the energy we need to take. So the Nine of Swords again. I think a few of us are in our heads still about the new things that are coming around in your lives. And I say, Don't worry about it. Don't trip. Again, the reason why I'm saying this is because I know I'm really good in a lot of things and I've been practicing a lot and I know a lot. And I don't care if it doesn't show right now. What I care about is what am I creating for the long term. And I don't care if it's here now or later. What I know is, do I have a space for this thing to come when it comes, if it comes? If it never comes, I still got a spot for you. Let me put this into a new perspective. If you are a parent and your kid goes off to college, and then your kid goes off to college, finds a spouse, get married, and then if your kid goes to college, finds a spouse, get married, and moves out, I'm the type of parent who will still have a space for my kid to come home to. It might not be your room anymore, but I will have a guest area for you. I'm never going to not have a space for you, even though you probably never will come back in that same capacity. But guess what? You might give me grandkids. So now the grandkids got a space. They're a guest too. So the idea is we got to learn how to occupy space, and then we got to learn how to occupy around spaces that we hold. And sometimes we need to delete some spaces, and then sometimes we need to delete what's in spaces or what we're holding. A lot of these things just come down to the simple idea of we are versatile and variable. V squared. Versatile and variable. Because we got these two aspects, we must need the knowledge, we must need the wisdom, we must need the application in order to show ourselves what we have. We must need those things. You got a desire to want those things. And once you have a need, then you can create a space. Once you have a space, then you can fill that space up. And I'm saying this because I know a lot of y'all don't understand that space is it's cubed. It's a 3-degree metric. But I'm saying it as a single metric because that is what we understand as time. There's a past, there's a present, there's a future. That is the same aspect for any time frame. There's a space, there's a space, there's a space. We need to start thinking at a deeper level in order for us to feel at a deeper level because our level of emotions permeate through multiple areas of this dimension. Because this life carries different pockets where emotions can penetrate, but the mind can't, we must understand the behaviors of the emotions as they exude in spaces that we cannot understand logically. But then you can start to relate to that understanding over and over and over, more often, more often, more often, and more frequently, frequently, frequently. And then you can start to notice the vibrations of things that seem or are deemed negative, opposite, unhelpful, degenerative. All of the aspects that show and demonstrate we're going towards the past and not the future. But in reality, the space flips around and alters itself, just like the time in the past can reoccur in the time in the future. That means that there must be a present moment of the past and a present moment where we're noticing that it's re-happening in the future. So people tend to forget that C squared aspect. But again, this is why I bring in education. You cannot blame the world. You cannot say it's the system. You cannot say it's the devil. All of the information that I'm speaking has been presented to you. It is never hiding, ever. You hide from the knowledge. It is never hiding from you. You choose not to apply certain wisdoms. You choose not to look at certain principles. You choose to deem things unworthy and brush them off and shoo them away. You deem that. It's not us as the educators. It's not us as the people who put information out into the world. It is you, the audience. So, be your best creator by being your best receiver. Learn to accept others. Learn to accept yourself and learn that you need to create situations where you're going to be accepted or not. That is important to see it as a twofold aspect of being accepted or not, because of the simple fact that you can be rejected for a numerous amount of reasons, and you can be received for numerous amount of reasons. So whatever you decide as the reason you were rejected or accepted, it still might not even be the case. So you got to find a new way to view things outside of that dynamic, that dichotomy, that dipole. You need a new reason that will supersede a third way. You need a way that will allow you to see more of what is going on. And guess what? If you have children, again, you would understand this aspect if you studied animals. Wake up, wake up, wake up. So, ladies, study animals and study mothers, because I think the problem in the world with women is that they do not believe in their nature. A woman is supposed to protect her children until it's time for them to get the fuck out. All cats do it, all dogs, damn near every fucking animal is going to birth their babies, love them so much to a certain point, and then they gonna tell them, get the fuck gone. A lot of women want to hold on to certain aspects, and it's because they feel like they got a control. And when they have that control, and then let's say the respect is lost now because the mama cat kicked out the baby cat was on his own for a little while, it came back and realized that you're just another cat, mom. You just need to have you just have certain areas that you control, but not me. I'm not one of those areas. Well, I kicked your ass out anyway. Again, that's the idea of animals. Let's look at pigs. Some pigs will eat their babies. Let's look at dogs. If a dog mom senses this pup might be a burden, she will kill that motherfucker. I'm not going to have the extra energy. Fuck it. These are dynamics that a lot of women are refusing to reflect upon, and then men tell them about it. But on the flip side, what are men not doing? Well, they're not exuding their masculine energies enough. Why? Because they're afraid to exude masculine emotional energy. A lot of men want to be stoic. A lot of men want to claim to be alpha. A lot of men want to say that people who are in their emotions as males are betas. No. Every fucking alpha dies. Every alpha loses. Every alpha becomes a bitch. It's because they put themselves in that dichotomy. Either I'm the top or you're shit. But most people don't operate on that. Most animals don't operate on that. And most males in the animal kingdom understand that shit too. How can we liken this same topic to reality? This is a man taking on stepchildren. A lion will kill any of the other cubs from a different alpha. From a different king, he will kill them motherfuckers. Why? Because them babies gonna grow up to kill that motherfucker. That's it. That's all. Take them out before they get big enough. That's the concept of not wanting to raise another man's child. I don't want to raise this child, give my love, energy, affection, attention, energy, and resources to something that will just turn around and destroy me. It's a simple concept because we exude animalistic behaviors. Our base brain is animalistic. But we must understand that we're not just animals for a simple reason. We are humans. And then there's humanoids, which is people who are similar to humans, but at a lower threshold. A lot of people like to liken these into uh, diseases of the mind, but they're not diseases of the mind and alone by themselves. It's the diseases of the heart too. We have to wake up and smell the reality. And if you can't smell the reality, you better listen to that motherfucker. And if you can't listen, then you better look. And if you can't listen, you can't look. And if you can't smell, well, you better taste that motherfucker. You must allow yourself to grow and change. But you can't grow and change if you keep doing things the same way. So it takes a little bit of pause. It takes a little bit of reflection. It takes a time out. It takes a step back. It takes not participating. It takes you deciding no. It takes you deciding yes. It takes you. You must understand who you are relative to the spaces you are in. And sometimes these spaces need you, and sometimes these spaces never want to see you there again. It is okay. But the idea is you must learn to temper yourself to be okay, because all the things that happen to you, you do to somebody else. You do to a lot of people, actually. So if somebody cuts you off, you don't have a reason as to why they're cutting you off. Maybe GPS system was late. Maybe they just wasn't paying attention. Or maybe they want to be an asshole and they didn't even know it. Maybe they want to be an asshole and they did know it. What it takes is you understanding that sometimes you do the same exact things. Sometimes you are on your GPS and it's late. Sometimes you did miss the turn and you want to get over real quick. Sometimes you want to be nice and sensible and just take the long way around and just go back. Sometimes you just want to say fuck it and do 100 on the highway and cut people off and not give a damn. You have to understand that sometimes those things pop up, whether they do it once every fucking 100 years or once every goddamn 30 seconds. The idea now is that we can give ourselves more grace when we learn that other people deserve more grace too. And this is the pause period. This is the reflection period. This is the decision to change. This is the decision to stay the same. This is the decision to reinforce. This is the purpose of us living, because the ing implies progression. That is not the top. That means the movement towards something. And that movement towards something has to be towards the past or to the future. But right now, we're moving. So you have to look at a new point of view. And to use English terms, that is what we call an adverb. Instead of looking at moving, I can describe the movements that are happening, like quickly or slowly. So it doesn't matter if I'm moving to the past quickly or slowly. It doesn't matter if I'm moving to the future. I'm doing it quickly or slowly. Or you can look at the past and the future. Those are nouns. So when we look at this subject and verb agreement, this is what makes things flow. And it doesn't matter which way you flow, because again, if you speak Spanish, everything flows in a way of inverse relationship that moves forward. And then in English, it moves in a regressive and then progressive state. We say things as if we receive them in English and then we describe them, versus in let's say Spanish, we describe something by looking at the changes that we can see. Yes, that's an apple of red. Manzana de rojo. Manzana de verde. We gotta see it and refer to what we see as a new description progressively. An apple of red, an apple of green. But in English, we'll say, oh yeah, it's a green apple. The description comes first prior to what we see. So understanding this dichotomy of language will help you understand the multitudes of ways to perceive this world. Every language has a direct subsequent equal to the reality one is living. The way that we view the world is based upon how we speak upon the world that is lived. ED. The past tense helps us think about the progressive tense. And there's no such thing as a future tense without a description or stair step to get there. He will be doing something at a time. The something and then the he implies that there could be a action in the future. But it's just a potential of this present moment right now. So, let us move forward. Moving forward, understanding that the more grace we give people in this world, the more grace we can learn to give to ourselves, which means the more that everyone can have relative to our own acceptance of the world and ourselves. That's how you begin change. I, for instance, am going to change my weight. I like my weight. I don't have any problem, but I don't like how the weight is sitting on me. I've been bigger than what I am, but I was doing more activities. But again, I've been planning this, which is why I've been on my hiatus. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be making the changes. So it doesn't matter if I'm not where somebody else wants me to be. I know where I've been and I know where I'm heading. That means somebody is in the stands as a fan, trying to tell me to keep running. But they're not actually running with me. They're not running. They're just talking. So the idea is now that I understand my position, I'm doing the walk, they're doing the talk, and I did not authorize them to speak to me in that way, aka I didn't hire them as a coach. So now I can listen to the coach within, and I can block out the coaches around. I can block out the fans, and I can block out the haters. But the idea is I want to accept them all because there's sometimes where I'm hating. There's sometimes where I don't want to like shit. There's sometimes where I like shit I don't want. But guess what? No matter which way you look at it, there is still always something that you can flip around as bad or good. You can polarize everything. So if I'm a nice, good person, right, I can still hate evil. And guess what? That's still hate in the world. I can be Batman, a vigilante, taking things into my own hands. But you're still doing crime. So the idea is to accept things a little bit differently from what they are is the first step to believing that you can make the changes that you want to see in your world. You must believe in the changes that you see in your mind, the changes you feel in your heart, the changes you don't feel in your heart, but you can think about, and then the things you can't think about in regards of your feelings. There's four more. But the idea is if you understand what I'm saying, you can always do the opposite, which means that you can always be the change that you see in between those opposites. You can make a difference. And I'm hoping that we can make a difference together. So, that's enough for the yap. Let's get on to this reading and let's see what we need to do today. I appreciate y'all always. And I'm hoping, again, I'm getting more confident knowing that, like, I don't care who listens. The people who listen will listen. Like, there's people on YouTube who I've noticed, again, to help myself feel better. Again, I look to relate. There's people with fucking 30,000 subscribers and they get like 200 views, like max, 250. There's people with 100,000 subscribers, 104, and they only get like 5,000 views. It is not you. It's not you. It's not the algorithm. It's not your desire. It's none of that, bro. It's the people. Understand, if you don't want to make a change, and if you are speaking facts for changes, nobody going to listen. I even do that with the people I enjoy listening to. I just don't want to hear how right you are all the time because it makes me feel bad. But the only reason why it makes me feel bad is because I'm a complete human. That means I always know that there's something I can fix. Always. So I can always hear the problem in myself and I can always hear the solution from these people. It's because it's always going to be there. But then I can look at the other side and say how perfect I am and how wonderful things are, and people would always verify and guarantee those things too. This is why people say take what resonates. But the problem with saying that is you can resonate with the bad and with the good. So instead of taking what resonates, receive it all and then apply it. Apply it. And when you apply it, that's when you decide if it resonates or not. Go try it. Oh, I don't like that. Why? Yeah, it makes me feel bad. And guess what? I'm already doing this over here to make me feel good. Cool, stop doing it then. I don't like that. It feels bad, but damn, I feel like this is good for me. Keep doing it then. That's it. The solutions to everything in life are simple. This is what we call a simplified equation. But that doesn't mean it wasn't derived or wasn't birthed from a huge complex fucking multi-step variable problem with irrational numbers and real numbers. And then complex figures too. If you don't understand these math speaks, you gotta catch the fuck up. This is high school shit. Go catch the fuck up. And if you are out of high school, you gotta learn that shit because you are a living adult. And it's not to apply it. It's to make your brain see better. It's to make your heart feel more. It's to make your body do more for you and less for your brain and less for others. You have to apply yourself. And when you apply yourself, you can apply faith. And once you have faith, you can make any change because your brain is what needs the faith. It's your awareness. And then your awareness deems your consciousness appropriate or not. Once you can have these things understood about you and yourself, then you can move forward in life. Because if not, you'll be sliding on this backwards scale called death. We're all walking towards death, but it's a backwards trait. In other words, you got to walk backwards to get to death. Not backwards. You must turn your back to the future as you walk towards the future. Use your mind of the past, use your visions of the past to project a future. And then you have faith, knowing that I'm looking at the things I've done so I can see where I want to head. And your body will lead. Your body will lead you. But that's because your mind is looking at or your body is looking at the past so your mind can project a proper future. That's why. That's it. That's all. So, let us grow and let us be great and let us move forward in life and let us be appreciative of the people who bring those things around us, whether we interact with them purposely or not. And then we can start to interact purposeful with the actions that we see. All right, I appreciate y'all. Let's actually get to the reading. All right. So overall energy for today. We have new inspirations coming through, new steps that we can take, new visions, new journeys, new starts, new beginnings. All of these things are brand new, and we are wide eyed and open. We are in positions, sorry, we are in positions to where we can continue to look forward to what is continuing. We can continue to look at what is changing. We can start to become aware of the new formats. We can become aware of these aspects that are being laid out, this pathway. We can start to see the things of the world from a brand new lens. But not only do we see it, we feel it. Not only do we feel it, we can know it. And not only do we know it, we're doing it. You know what to do, you know where to go, you know that you're going to feel good about it, and you think that you're going to do well with it. It is time for this brand new start. It's a restart because it's a change. Exactly. It's something that's already been happening slowly, but you've been tempering. Nights are energies in motion for me. It could be a page, or it can be a king or queen in motion. It can even be an emperor. Knights are always on horses, every single one of them. It's a verb. That is the present squared. That is us not talking about being here or there. It's talking about getting there slowly or getting there quickly. The temperance of this motion has led you to a newfound beginning. A newfound beginning of how to stabilize the things in the world. This card represents stability in all spaces, all places, whether that's any emotion, any feeling, any thought, or any action. That is what this is for. No matter how you look at this card, these things are all balanced by duality, too. So we are starting to realize that this twofold temperance is a part of us now. If you're getting older, you just accept certain things. Go talk to old people. Like, again, I pay attention to the world around me, man, very much so energetically. And yesterday when I was working, a whole lot of old people, I serviced a ton of old people. So that told me two things. I need to A, slow down. I need to be patient, and then I need to be accepting of things that I don't want. A lot of us don't want to get old, man. But I'm sorry, the more life you live, the older you'll get. But that doesn't mean you have to feel that way. But the only reason why people avoid getting older is because they are afraid of some aspect of being old. I'm not as strong as I used to be, nor do I care to be. That is how you accept getting older. I care to be doing the things that I still want to do. I care to be learning things that I might want to do or might not want to try again. I care about the things that I stopped doing in the past because I didn't like, and I restarted again in the future because I'm older and I got a new point of view. I have changed. So why do I keep the same old wants and desires? Why do I keep the same old dislikes and rejections? I am not the same. Let me tell you a story about when I was younger. One time, I ate a salad. One time, it had tomatoes on there. That one time, I ate that salad with the tomato. I actually think it was poison, as I think about it, which is why I was sick and throwing up. But I ate that tomato one time. When I was a kid, never wanted to eat tomatoes ever again. And then I got older. And then I started having sports. And then when I had the sports, I started having things that are associated with the sports, like cramps. And so, because bananas always give me heartburn, another way to get in some potassium is through tomatoes. Decided to eat a tomato. Felt so good. God damn it. It was so wonderful. But I avoided them because when I was a kid, I would not fucking eat them. Because I got sick one time. So I let that sickness one time fuck up a lot of things in the future. And then came to a point to where I needed to eat the tomato. And if I would have still been a little bitch about it, saying, "Oh, I don't like tomatoes," I would never got the potassium that my body needed. Would have gone and had to find a new way, or suffered through eating bananas even though they give me heartburn. What do? You make the alternative because the alternative option didn't work for me. Another example, not for me, is I had my high school sweetheart back in the day. She loved fucking olives. Loved olives. Hated them. But then I noticed that I would eat them when they were on a supreme pizza. So even though I still didn't like them to the extent of her, I wouldn't shame her anymore for like always wanting what she enjoyed. Again, and the shame come from me saying things like, "Ugh, you like olives? Ugh, nasty as fuck." Just shaming the idea of what I didn't like in the context of what she did. Oh, you don't like fucking cats? Oh, you stupid. But I like dogs. They're wonderful. I like the floppy ears. Why are you bringing up irrelevant logic? Again, it's logical, but it's irrelevant to the progression or the movement of the conversation. If somebody tells you they like dogs, don't say, "I don't like dogs, I like cats." Don't say shit like that because that's irrelevant. Wow, what do you like about the dog? And then you might find a characteristic that you could compare to why you like your cat or your turtle. Turtles have been up and around for a long while. For the last 4 days, been hearing a lot of people talk about turtles, and turtles been popping up, which is why I even thought to slow down yesterday. Slow down, take my time when I was servicing these older people. And I made a whole bunch of money yesterday that I needed to make. Got bills coming up, of course. Obviously, we're going from the end of one month to the beginning of the next. But I decided, because it was my favorite day of the week, Saturday, because college football now is back in action. I love college football so much. So I went and I did some homework instead of at a Starbucks. I went and got some food. And then, had a little brewski instead of just like drinking at the end of the day. Again, all the things I've been saying. I've been progressively bettering myself, slowly tempering these newfound visions. And guess what? I had a wonderful time. And then I went and I left that place and I was like, maybe I should work. And I said to myself, nah, don't do this work, do a different work. So I went and did some other work. It felt good to do the things that I wanted to do, even if it came slowly. And then I switched up and did something completely new and different. And it was still something I still wanted to do. So, as we're tempering the things that we enjoy doing over here and we enjoy doing over there, as we're tempering ourselves through our own visions, through our own struggles, through our own successes, as we're tempering ourselves through these areas of life, we must appreciate both sides. Appreciate the towers. Because guess what? That allows you to build something new. Again, a tower could be something that just happens. But the idea is, how do you perceive that happening? Because if it's just happening, that means it will just pass. That means it'll just go. If I have a thought come in, that means that thought can leave unless I stop it and think about it and take attention. And even if you do visit with the thought, that thought can still go again. We have to start to view the present moment differently, and that is us progressing slowly. The slow progression that we're built, oh man, The slow progression that we're building on is these loops of justice between what we like, what we care about, what we share about, what we judge other people about, and how we judge our own love. This is us looking at the idea of I can love tomatoes now as a grown as adult, and I could have hated them as a kid, but at the end of the day, it's all love, and it's love for me. Not just because I want the tomato, but because I want what the tomato does for my body, which is not me. My mind is me. My soul is who I am. But the me is my mind because it's what my soul is seeing over time. And my body is separate from my mind and my me because it is I. And my body is the I that exudes the actions that help it or help my mind or help my soul. So the vessel is how we're progressing through this time frame of change. But the time frames of change are now moving forward in a slow manner in a loop of justice. Things that feel just like and things that feel unjust. But at the end of the day, you are the king of cups. That means you can share your feelings about it or you can keep them to you. Or you can always have your cup, but then you can have this little chalice to share the emotions that you learn, share the pain, share the love, share the both. Again, the king of cup is the only cup with two, only king with two cups, bro. It's the only thing with two. So that means as much as he will hide, a lot of people don't talk about it, he is reserving his emotions. He's giving. So it's not that he's hiding emotions. He's only sharing his budget, which is showing you how you are calling judgment on the things that you want to give your time to or not. Like the times that I would hate on the olives, and then the times where I decided that they weren't that bad. The times that I would hate on tomatoes, and the times that I would say that they're super helpful. The times where I eat the banana and it gives me heartburn versus the time where it doesn't. It's not just the banana giving me the heartburn because, again, I understand that the banana is a semi-acidic fruit. It's the fact that I just ate the banana and I didn't pair it with something else like a strawberry, which will balance the banana and balance the pH in my stomach, and I don't feel that problem. But I would never be able to cast that judgment on the bad banana and the good strawberry, on the nasty olive but the nice olive on a supreme pizza, on the tomato that made me throw up versus the tomato that makes me feel good and not cramp. I can call the judgment on those. Why? Because I can see happiness no matter which way. I've been tempering these things. I've been going through these things slowly, moving through these things in practical manners. And that's why they're looping along each other. But now, no matter which of the four is looping, I can just balance them as the two. And as I temper all of these things into the two, now I can progress on this new journey with a new vision. You're already heading towards the new vision. Looking the same way. That's because we are already there because we went to the past. And the past took us to the future. We're just now tempering the motions on how we get there. We're tempering if we're getting there more quickly or more slowly. You're deciding on what needs to come faster and what needs to leave more quickly. And then you're deciding what needs to come slower and what needs to leave more slowly. It is the adverb aspect. Additional verb. Additional information to the verb. Modifiers. Tell me. Oh, okay. Exactly. You now know how to cut out. So the King of Swords is I'm seeing through you. I see through you. That's why he's the only card that actually looks at you in the same sense. He's looking dead at you. I see through you. What do you see? You see through the emotions, you see through all the cups, you see through all the illusions, you see through all the phases of the moon. That is what it means. You see through time. You're looking back at time. Again, I said you got to walk to the future with your back towards the future. As you're walking with your back towards the future, okay, you can see through all the cycles of time. Doesn't matter if it's a full moon or a crescent moon, a waning or waxing gibbous. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you can see through all of these cups of the past. You can see through the emotions, and you can know that they're not bad. They're just not for me. And as you walk away, you're walking to being balanced in any of these characteristics. Good, bad, ugly, poor, helpful, non-helpful, burdensome. You know that you can temper all of those things as just what you can find as a part of your appreciation. What you can find, and then what you can include as a part of the things that you appreciate. Your appreciation. What you can find a part of your appreciation. And it's the idea that you can be the one to decide how this makes sense to me, how this helps me. And at the end of the day, it helps you become balanced in all ways, all spaces, all areas. So, let us rejoice in the fact that we can have things to move forward towards. Let us rejoice in the fact that we can leave things. Let us rejoice in the fact that we have to leave things we enjoy. And let us rejoice in the fact that we are away from the things that we hated. What's our final message? Transformation is here, and it's not transformation by itself. It's transforming the responsibilities that we carry. We're transforming how we view the responsibilities that we have. Remember, the dev card is dual. People don't see this second horse. People don't tend to see that second horse. See that second horse? Here's the first one. There's the second one. First one, second one. Two horses. People don't see the fact that when you die, there's two things that happen. When there is a death, two things die. The physical person dies, and then the reality dies with that person. If you can no longer hug your granddad, that is a death to you who can hug granddad. That part has to die now as well, because can that person hug granddad? No. Can you physically hug granddad? No. So the idea of hugging granddad, which is a noun, dies with the other noun called a person. It dies with that thing called a human. And it dies with that place called that home where you can hug, that room where you can hug, that space that can be hugged. These are nouns. And they're both, all four of them are dying, but four can go back in just two. The physical side and the non-physical side. And all of those things are dead now. But it's twofold. So what does that say? Well, since two things died, that means two things can be reborn. But I don't recommend doing that. Temperance card doesn't recommend doing that. It recommends keeping both of these things that are dead and balancing them to keep them alive as something new. So maybe your granddad dies, but his principalities live on through you. Maybe the ability to hug your granddad is gone, but you can go hug somebody else's granddad. You can go be a granddad and hug your grandchildren. You can go just hug somebody because maybe they just lost their granddad and you didn't even know it. Maybe you can go make somebody laugh because you don't know that they just lost their pet. and they sent you off to go get to the Petco to get new shit for a new pet, but they're still mourning the loss of the old pet. You don't have a clue what people have going on, but you don't have a clue twice. And again, this banner of death is the flower of life. So those who are dying, again, that's fine. Let that part of you die so another part of you can be reborn. It's the circle of life, is what they say. But there is temperance within that circle. There are ups and downs along the cycle of spring, along the cycle of summer, along the cycle of fall. But overall, we can call these segments winter, spring, summer, and fall. But it just comes down to two when you think about it from a larger view. You got the wet season or the dry season. You have to view the world in more ways. Deaf to the way of thinking things in singularities. Deaf to the way of only viewing things from one way. Deaf to the idea that these things happen as one. Everything is a fuse. Everything is connected by three. But we're only talking about the two right now. You are the connection in between the two. So know who you got on the left, know what you got on the right, and know how you feel about it, think about it, act upon it, and routine about it on the in between. Once you can have these figured out, the responsibilities that you carry, the responsibilities that you go through, you can see straight through them, even if they're hidden. So, allow yourself to go through the furnace, to burn in the fire, and let that fire become icy cold. And then guess what? Now you're moving with a newfound sense of power. This is like going into the sauna and only being able to last 2 minutes in the sauna. And then you burn in the furnace. You sit in the seat of the fire of the soul, like they would say in yoga. And then guess what? Now you're in the sauna for 5 minutes. And then if you keep sitting in that flame, tempering that idea of I can do this, now you're in there fucking working out for 10 minutes. You're in the sauna for 10 minutes and you're working out, doing push-ups and sit-ups or breathing and shit. Death doesn't mean things die. Death means the connection is severed. Instead of having one cup, you split it into 2 cups now. But there is still a connection of life in between those 2 cups. Tapping into the ancestors, prayers, meditating, feeling good, whatever you want to call it, anything that is not what you're looking at is the in-between. It is the present moment progressing slowly. Just depends on your point of view. Are you going to be a page? Are you going to be a king, queen? Or are you going to be an emperor, empress? It is up to you to decide which perception you take, your responsibility. And it's your responsibility to know if you're obligated or not. And then you temper yourself and you temper your obligations and you temper your obligations again, and then you temper what you decide. So, I appreciate y'all being here for this nice lesson. I feel like I should put my yaps on my podcast or something, but we'll see what life brings us. I appreciate y'all for being back here with me and all the ones who stay. So, peace.